How many of you ever ran into a situation where you noticed someone around you was like working on themselves, trying to get themselves in a better position? And or you found yourself in a situation where you're working upon yourself and trying to get yourself in a better situation. You kind of realize when you look at the stuff that was around you that you thought was good to go. You thought was like taken care of. You thought was like being good and in a way like better than you. And you look at that other person and thought that they were doing pretty good. But then you come to realize the better that you get or the better that they get, it starts to poke holes in the things that you thought were so good. That now what you thought was good when you were looking out, you realize actually wasn't so great. And now you have to figure out how to be able to work upon that to be able to get yourself into a different situation. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. And these sunflowers, I'm happy about these sunflowers. They looking really good. It's something very interesting to just kind of just really put a smile on your face sometimes. To just when you're not sure, you come out here and stare at them. And what comes with sunflowers is a bunch of very beautiful, interesting bugs. Bugs that aren't so dangerous and devastating to us, such as the bees and such as ladybugs and little spiders and little wolf spiders and all these things out here that are very, very fascinating to be around. It's a beautiful thing that in reality I had no idea how big sunflowers are. When you see pictures of them, you see videos of them, you see stuff. It seems like it's just this little plant that's like right here. No, these things are this one is going over my head already. It's already headed to 7 feet tall. This one right here behind me is my same height, and it's phenomenal how big they are. It's just stuff that I see on TV and then come to realize and see in person is completely different, and that's something that it's just very fascinating to me that I wish more and more people were able to really just get a good glimpse of what's going on out here. But the concept of working upon yourself and then you start to realize what you thought was good to go when you looked out there, it is not as good as you thought now that you're working on yourself. Something that I just come to a realization today with working with some dogs, that the dogs that I'm working with were savage. They were like the neighborhood dogs that were crazy. Everyone knew it. Everyone would try to avoid it. Everyone would try to get away from it. But the dogs, they're just dogs. That's just what it is. But the other people's dogs look like, say, they were better. They were having a better situation than what these dogs were having in the moment. And it just appeared and it seemed to be that way. But then once you start working on these dogs and they start to get into a better place, now they're the ones that are no longer reacting at all anymore. Now they're walking so pretty and just so happy and so laid back and just so relaxing that now the dogs that you thought were just so great, you start to see like, they're actually not so great. They're not really doing the best. They're not the best of the best. They're not the greatest of the greatest. They just were, say, better than what this was in this scenario, but not better in an overall sense. That you start to see the issues going on once your life starts to get into a better, less chaotic way. It's such an interesting thing because I feel like a lot of us look at our lives and look at people and look at stuff as if it's so much better than ours. But you're not really maybe sometimes seeing it correctly because you're not where it is that you want to be yet. And once you start to get into that position of being able to get your own life on a game plan of this is what I want, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to pursue, this is what I want to get myself better with, then you start to look at all your friends and all your buddies like, you're actually not doing what it is that I thought you were doing. And in reality, you was kind of lying about how you were doing to try to maybe make yourself look better. But now that I'm getting in a better place and you're getting in a better place, you start to realize all the sticky situations that are out here that you just never really paid attention to. And when you start to be able to see that and start to pay attention to that, man, you're on a path for some exponential growth on this planet. Now, a lot of times, some simple things simple things, everything is complicated. I say simple things, and that's a horrible term for me to use because this is a very complicated life. But sometimes you have something that's complicated, like such as being quick to anger, quick to lead to the frustration, to just like kind of rampage and just want to quit type anger, where you're just like, I just quit, I don't want to do it, and you just walk away and stumble away. Well, you recognize when you do something like that and you start to gain more self-control. You start to pray and ask and start to get yourself in a better situation, that you start to seek God, you start to seek yourself, you start to figure out how to be able to get through some things like this, you start to ask for some forgiveness, you start to figure out how to be able to get the forgiveness that you actually need and wanting and desiring, and you start to be able to get a better person, become a better person. And then when you start to get out of that, you start to notice like everyone else around you does the same stuff. You just didn't notice it because you were so focused in on you and yours that you're like, no one else is like me. No one else is as bad as me. No one else is struggling like me. And that's something that I would want more and more and more people to just really take a good hard look at this world and this life and realize that we are all struggling. We all hurting. We all have problems. We all trying to figure out how to get out of it. We all trying to figure out how to get better. We're all trying to work upon ourselves so that we can have a more successful day and have a more peaceful life. And it's not anyone out here that is just doing so much better, so much greater, and just has no issues and no drama and no nothing that we all do. And sometimes when we're just in the stumps of the lowest of the lowest, we just have it in ourselves that we are the only ones that are in such a way. And I'm telling you, you're not. and stop thinking that you are, and stop thinking that you're worthless and no good because you're hurting and you're struggling right now, and stop thinking that you're greater than the rest of the world because you're doing pretty good right now. And that's the one thing that this earth really does prove and show us, that there's seasons out here. You're not ever, never, ever going to be in the same thing. We have never had a year on this planet where it was just always summer and winter didn't come, spring didn't come, fall didn't come. It just stayed summer. We have never had that. And that's the same thing with us as human beings, that we are never, ever, ever going to stay in the same exact position that we're in. Sometimes we're doing good. Sometimes we're putting in, planting the seed to be able to make sure that we're going to be good in the future. Other times we're harvesting that seed and we're actually reaping what it is that we have. And a lot of people think like that's the best time, but that's not. That's the busiest, hardest, most back-breaking time of life, is when you're actually doing and dealing with the harvest. That's the hardest part of the work. Laying the seed is fairly simple. Watching the seed grow, it's like super easy. But when it comes down to the point of actually having to deal with it and get it out and package it and get it out to market, that's the most labor you're ever going to put in your life. And we're not always going to be in that. We have times where we've got to put the seed and watch it grow. And then we got times that we're there and everything is good to go. And then we got times that we could sit back and relax and just reap in what it is that we worked so hard to do. A lot of times we got that whole concept, well, you reap what you sow, but it's not just a quick, you put the seed and then there we are. There's a lot of in-betweens going on here, and that's something that all of us as humans should really understand and stop getting in our feelings when you see someone doing good and you're not doing so good, and then be all high and mighty when you're doing good and the next person next to you is not doing so good. Because I'm telling you, we all struggling out here, we all have issues out here, and we all trying to figure out how to be able to get through these problems and get past these problems. And the more that you really understand that, the more that you're really going to be able to just have more relief for yourself and having more compassion in you to really help the next person next to you, knowing that they're struggling as much as you are. So let's figure out how to help each other so that we can get out of this struggle, so that we can figure out how to be able to overcome this struggle. And when someone is doing good, that's the prime time for you to come in and help someone that's struggling. And when someone that's struggling, that's a prime time for you to seek out someone that's going to be able to help you, to guide you, to be able to get you out of it. And then it's going to flip and flop over and over. When you're up, then you help. When you're down, then you're seeking help. And as long as we keep doing this for each other, we're going to be an absolutely blessed human species on this planet. Because sometimes, in some places, in some cases, something they're just talking about today that really got in me about the whole concept of, there's some people on this planet right now, today, that have a collective enough to be able to make sure that we don't have the problems that we have today. That people aren't hungry today. People aren't without housing today. People aren't without water today. We have an abundance on this planet, and it's just being put out there, that some people want to hold on to it more and other people don't want to give it away. Other people don't. We just have a huge issue going on where someone's doing really well and they just have it in them that I don't really care to help out the other person that's struggling and hurting right now, that I just want to figure out how to be able to get and maintain and keep having more. And to me, that's just, as much as I try not to believe that, I have no choice but to see that and see the actions of that, with the prices of everything always going up, the way that things always start to have these shortages that are going on. A lot of times we have to really look at, are people actually looking out for the best of us, or are they trying to just really slam us down and just keep making it more complicated for us? And that's such a horrible, that to me, I don't know, this is the word I can use with that, is that's evil. That's evil to watch people hurting and try to put them into more hurt, as opposed to seeing people hurting and try to figure out how to help them to be able to get into a better position, into a better place. If we had that system going on more and more, we would be such Oreo, Johnny, would be such a better human being on this planet in looking at a way of seeing the abundance and having the abundance and not have to worry about scarcity and lack, and being able to actually be able to create and be able to manifest better and more awesome things on this planet, instead of living in this sense of survival. Hey, Johnny, living in Oreo down. I see the dog. Johnny. Instead of living in a sense of survival that's not allowing any of us to be able to express what it is that we want to express and be able to just put out there to what we want to be able to put out there. It's something that we as a collective, as a whole total group, that there's someone out here that's doing really well right now. And instead of you just thinking, I'm doing well and I worked so hard to get this wellness, think of, how can I help the next person that is not doing so well, in a way of being able to make sure that I can set them up to be able to get them into a better position. That's something that I think we're missing, we're lacking in, and our terms and ways of the way we run our economy in this, especially just this specific country, United States of America, that we're all so cutthroat with, I got mine, and I'm not going to help the next person be able to figure out how to be able to get theirs, and I'm just going to make sure that when I get mine, I get more, and when I get more, I'm going to make it so hard for everyone to be able to have any. It's such an interesting thing, because I just noticed this of like a simple, complex management company that came in to build some apartments around here. This management company built a couple of brand new communities, and then it decided, you know what, I'm going to buy up all the other ones that are already existing already. And then they come in and they buy them all up and they do what they do. And then you know what the first thing is they do? They start raising prices, just up and up and up and up. And so they undercut, bought from those people, and then they just start raising. And then they just keep doing that. That is not in any sort of way of helping out people in any way. It's to come in and just monopolize yourself, to buy them all because you have the resources and the funds to be able to do such a thing, to just make sure that you're sabotaging everyone else that's beneath and below you. That's something that we as a people should really try and do our absolute best to be able to get out of and get away from, of realizing that we're not always going to be in the situation of Oreo, of always doing and having the most. That there's gonna be times that you're doing the great and there's gonna be times that you're hurting. And if you're out here at all times doing your worst to try to damage people when you are good, why do you think and what do you think is gonna happen to you when you are not in that position? Get down. What do you think is gonna happen when someone else sees that you were such a ruthless person when you were good? You think that they're gonna be so willing and so free and open to be able to help. And that's something that still, even in that time, that's going to be the hardest challenge of us as human beings. So yes, we still have to help them. Yes, I seen you do what you do and even try to hurt and try to destroy. And I see you hurting now. I still have to say, you know what? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to do whatever it is I can. And in reality, that's kind of maybe almost the start that we have to do. We have to start by helping the people that we know. Oreo, get down. We have to start with that process to figure out how to be able to make sure that we all are going to be able to be successful on this planet, as opposed to just always constantly struggling and having the desire inside of us of just taking and trying to just consume more and more and not trying to help out the next person because you're just like, I got it and I want to keep it all and I want to figure out how to be able to get more and more of it. That is just, that's just a horrible thing that we just consistently keep doing over and over and over through generation after generation. We just keep doing the same thing. And if we keep doing the same stuff, we're going to keep ending up in the same nowhereness of just struggling and living in just absolute strife and chaos at all times. Don't we, as something that I just think and I feel is a very powerful thing on this planet, don't we want to figure out how to be able to get to a better place than where we are today? Even just say the past 100 years, we've been doing the same stuff. We have been having the same technology. The past 20, 30 years, we've been having all the same stuff. Things are a little bit faster, things are a little bit more reliable, but in reality, we have the same stuff. Still driving the same cars, still living in the same houses, still traveling the same way on the same roads, still have all the same cell phones in our pockets that are just a little bit faster with a little bit of a better camera on it. In reality, the camera's really not better. It's just the software that's getting better on it. Still have the same slow computers that we've had back in the year 2000. Still have unreliable internet all around us. We still have all the same stuff for the past 2 decades for sure. It's all the same stuff. And in the past 100 years, we got all the same items. We still use the same type of lights. We upgraded to some LEDs, but it's the same light. We still have the same system of how to be able to energize the lights. We still have the same plumbing in our houses. We still have the same way to get rid of all of our sewage. We still have the same system on how to be able to get rid of all of our trash. Don't we want to like move into something better, something greater, something more, something different, something more exciting? And the only way that we're going to be able to get into that is by allowing more of us to be able to stop trying to control and take all of it and allowing more of us to be able to figure out how to be able to get into a better place. And that's just the concept of what I'm all about with making sure that I'm preaching a message of love to be able to help the next person as opposed to the message of hate and trying to harm the next person. And with that, man, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for a very interesting day, for me to be able to be in a blessed position to be able to stand next to these absolutely amazing flowers that I didn't even plant. And it's cool for me to be able to experience it and witness it and just know that this is just God's work in action right here, that sometimes you just stumble upon something that's just absolutely stunning that you just can't get yourself away from it, that you just gotta consume yourself more into it. And I'm so thankful to be able to have such a thing that I don't need to go so far to think that I can be in this magical, amazing place, that I can go literally 5 minutes and, if anything, my backyard, which is, I'm in my backyard right now, of just being able to see the amaze that's going on this planet. And even going into these apartment complexes that I go to and seeing like there's an absolutely amazing thing in every single one of them, and there's so much awesome stuff around for you to be able to get yourself around, to be able to see, to be able to do, to be able to really just experience. And there's just an abundance of everything everywhere. But it's a matter of us shifting our ideas of what the abundance actually is. It's not your bank account adding more and more. It's more of just being able to see the greatness that's out here, of realizing that it just keeps going and it keeps going. And in reality, it keeps going in a way for us as humans to understand it. It keeps going on its own. It keeps growing on its own, that I don't need to come out here and do anything for it. I mean, I don't even water these guys. And even if I did have to water it, it's not like I created the water to water it. And that's something that is just absolutely, just phenomenally amazing, that we don't create any of this stuff. We just check it out, watch it, and it just starts going and going and going and doing what it needs to be doing. And that's something that I just have come to notice with my own self. And I'm so thankful for, to be able to realize that the more I rely upon God, the more that I don't have to fight so hard to get certain things, that I just have to kind of stay on a path of making sure that I'm working upon myself to get myself in a better place. And then things just start to be able to work for me, because I can't in reality, on my own, in my own ways, just sitting down and just trying to meditate all day of thinking like, how can I grow and better myself? I can't do that on my own. I need outside sources to be able to do such a thing. Same with these flowers and these plants out here. They need outside sources to be able to make it happen. And that's the power of what I'm going to say is God is within inside of me, and something that I'm just absolutely so thankful for, and something that I just want more and more people to just be able to just get a little bit of experience of what it is that I've been able to experience so far. That things are changing, and they're changing in a great way. Is it perfect every day? Heck no. I'd be challenged. I'd be struggling. I'd be hurting. I'd be a little sad sometimes with certain things that are going on. I get worried sometimes. I get a little anxious sometimes with some things that are just happening and going on around my life. I get a little disappointed at times with things that are just like, I thought this was getting better, but why is it still not what it is that I'm looking for? And then also at the same time with all of that, of just realizing that everything's not gonna be perfect, man. Everything, it just isn't gonna be just dead on the way that it should be, that we're always working and we're always getting better. And it's something that I'm going to say that I absolutely love about dogs and working with dogs. They're never going to be perfect, but we're always going to keep on working to be able to get to a better place. And I love working with people that know that and understand that and appreciate that and really care for that, because that's what they are. They're a process. They're a long process. They're a long game process. They're not just, we're going to fix it here today and that's just it. No, we're here to keep on going, working. We hit a new revelation on, oh, okay, I thought I was doing good, but now I got to shift and go ahead and go over and do that. Oh, I thought I was good over there, so let me go ahead and shift and go ahead and go do better and move over there. That's something that we're just always continuously keep doing. And I'm just so thankful to understand that, because I used to think that I was good to go. I used to think that I could just work on this and get to this point, and that's almost it. And then I'll have the aha, everything's going to be great in life. And it's just not that way. And once I started to understand that and really just kind of, in a way, accept that, I realized, man, this life is great. And I hope that you're able to find that great life as well, of understanding that everything's not perfect and we're always changing and we're always moving. But as long as you're always doing what you can for the people that don't have when you have, and figuring out how to be able to do for the people that have when you don't have, you're going to live a completely different existence on this planet, with being able to realize that when you're good, you're helping. When you help, when you're not, someone's going to be there because of the good that you've been doing. And not that they're going to help you because you did something for them. But it's just the way that the system in this world works in reality, that is kind of just the way it is. If you're always out to destroy, destruction is going to keep coming to you. If you're always out to try to help and please, help is going to come your way. Thank you.